Let's take a look at annotating and alignment using OpenRoads version 10.10 and the Ohio DOT CADD Standards. So we've made a change to the standards for version 10.10 to take advantage of a new function. So in previous versions, when you use the annotate element command, you would select the element and reset to complete your selection, and the element's annotated. And what OHDOT had done in the past was defined 3 groups of annotations on 3 different groups of levels. So I'm going to open the level display dialog. I can see what I've got is my alignment itself on the GEP alignment level. And I've got bearings, cardinal points, curved data stations, and distances separated out. But those are all based on 100-foot spacing for the stations. So the 100 is not a scale, it's the spacing between the station annotations. So previously we would have placed 3 groups of annotations, and what OHDOT has done is change the annotation definition only to place 1 group, so you don't get those extra graphics. Now if you did want a different value other than the 100-foot stationing, what you can do, I'm going to go ahead and remove these annotations and go annotate the element again. And I'm going to tell it to override the annotation group. And when I do that, I've got a drop-down list of annotations. So under linear and alignments, OHDOT's added a lot of new different options. So some of those options, let me expand this a bit. And they're not alphabetical, unfortunately. I don't know why Bentley doesn't sort those, but there's existing and proposed. There's 100 foot for our stations, 500 foot, and then 1,000 feet for our stations. So if I wanted to propose 500-foot station, I can just go ahead and select that from the list, accept that, and pick my element, reset when I'm done picking elements, and annotate that. So now I'm using the group that has annotations every 500 feet for my station. And if I bring up my level display dialog, you can see it's using that 500 group of levels. So you can put multiple annotations on this in the same file as long as you're staying with different groups, because we don't split it out as, you know, each one of these is not a different group of levels. There's a group of levels for 100, 500, and 1,000. That's it. So if I picked another 500 option, I'm going to have duplicate annotations on the same groups of levels. But if I want to put the 100-foot annotations back in here, I can choose that alignment again. And now I've annotated it with that group. And if I look at my level display, you can see I've got both the 100 and the 500 groups annotated. Okay, let's clear those annotations and let me show you a couple more things. So I'll just remove annotations, and that's going to take all of them out. And then we'll re-annotate this. And I'm overriding, and we've added some options to force the stationing to the left side or the right side. I guess it would be, yeah, force stations to the right. And then there's force all. So normally the stations are on the above the alignment. If you want them below or on the right side, I can do stations right, and then there's force all right. So the difference here is it's not just the stations, it's the stations and the key point annotation. So I'll go ahead and select that one and annotate this. And here we can see on this spiral, those normally would have been on the left side, and we forced those to the right side with a force all right. And just one more time just to make sure we've got this. Let's remove those annotations, annotate this again. And instead of forcing all right, I'm just going to force the stations to the right. So there's one in here, 100 stations right. So you'll see when I use that one, I'm going to get the stations on the right side, but my key points are going to go towards the center of the curve, as they normally would. So those are to the center of the curve. Here's the curve the other direction. But all my stations are forced to the right side. So that's just some changes taking advantage of the override annotation group function in version 10.10. If you've got any questions or problems with this, just contact the ODOT Office of CAD and Mapping Services.